We begin with anger and frustration outside the Department of Education one day after President Trump signed an executive order to dismantle that agency. We're glad you're with us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Josh Chapin in for Scott Thuman tonight. A protest that started this morning, growing throughout the day. The department's main role, distributing billions in federal money. Rebecca Turco breaks down what dismantling it could mean and the impacts that we could all feel.
Students and education advocates set up desks outside the Department of Education, admonishing the Trump administration's efforts to dismantle it.
I don't think a multi-billionaire is the right person to be deciding whether working class kids in America get free lunch or not.
President Trump signed an executive order yesterday to do away with the department. He's called it a waste of taxpayer money. And today he announced some of the other agencies that would take over responsibility for things like federal student loans and programs serving students with disabilities.
The Health and Human Services will be handling special needs and all of the nutrition programs and everything else. Rather complex.
University of Washington Assistant Professor Matthew Gardner Kelly, who has expertise in how state lawmakers structure K-12 school funding systems, argues divvying out these roles isn't feasible at both the state and federal levels.
All of the reporting I've seen from folks inside have made clear that it is not reasonable or feasible, given the cuts that we're seeing across different areas of the federal government.
Getting rid of the Department of Ed would require an act of Congress, but the agency has already used layoffs and buyouts to cut its workforce in half.
In the absence of the necessary staff to allocate these funds, it would translate into a really devastating cut in funding to DC public schools, and it would have a really devastating impact on the kinds of opportunities that the public school system in DC is able to provide to its students.
He says schools could start feeling the impacts of the department's reduced staffing not next school year, but the one after, where funding hasn't been laid out yet. Reporting in Southwest DC, Rebecca Turco, 7 News.
Rebecca.